Shabbat Shalom again, and let's begin first opening Nigun. Now let us rise for the blessing over the candles for this Yom Tov and this Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav Vetzivanu lehadlik ner Vetzivanu lehadlik ner Vetzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov
You may be seated. Because it's Yom Tov, it's because it's Passover, and as we go into Shabbat, our Kabbalat Shabbat service is abbreviated. So we turn to page 11, and we go right to Lachuna Ranana.
Lachuna Ranana, Lachuna Ranana, Lachuna Ranana, Ladonai. Lachuna Ranana, Lachuna Ranana, Lachuna Ranana, Ladonai. Naria letzorishenu nekadma fanav betoda. Naria letzorishenu bizmirot naria lo. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana ladonai. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana ladonai.
We now turn to page 14, the middle of the page. Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Metagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim. Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Metagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Umlo, Yiramayam, 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 Umlo, Yismechu Hashamayim. Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Metagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Umlo, Yiramayam, Yiramayam, Yiramayam. hayam lo.
Now we invite all those in mourning and all those observing a yurtzeit to rise for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found in our prayer books on page 30. Yitzgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirute v'yomlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayet dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'yemru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevorach leolam umeamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha brechu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechemata da'amiram b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. And now let us all rise for the Barg, page 39.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue with Ahavat Olam, page 40.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Beit Yisrael, Amcha avta Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta, Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachveinu v'tovenu, Nasiach b'chochecha, Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amecha avta Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta, v'nismach v'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, Yihei mechayenu ve'olech yameinu, u'bahem negei yomam v'layla, ve'ahavadcha, Al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch ata Adonai Elohei Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha, ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam, ve'shivtecha bebeitecha u'lechtecha b'derech, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue silently in Hebrew or English to the bottom of page 42.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
And now we come to that part of the service which we get to read in the Torah twice every year, once when it comes up in the book of Exodus, and once on the seventh day of Passover. The Israelites crossed the Red Sea, and when they got to the other side, they sang this song, Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, page 44. We're going to read it tomorrow in the Torah.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar v'kodesh nora nora, nora tehilot osei pele. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar v'kodesh nora nora, nora tehilot osei pele. Malchutcha ראו בניך, הוגה הים לפני משה. זרי, זרי, עלו ואמרו, מלכותך ראו בניך, הוגה הים לפני משה. זרי, זרי, עלו ואמרו, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא נורא, נורא תהילות עושי פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא נורא, נורא תהילות עושי פלא.
Help us, O God, to lie down in peace and awaken us tomorrow to life renewed. Hashkivenu, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu malkeinu lechayim. Ushmor teteinu uvoleinu lechaim ulshalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamideinu malkeinu Turn to page 46 and join in Vishamru. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל, יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. וילמד יברך יראתי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכם וביומכם ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגדה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. בגדה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא וירעד ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו ליגמין כל ברכתה ושירתה ושפחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, אמן.
And now we stay standing. We remain standing for a different Amidah than we normally recite. We turn to page 306. And here you'll find the Amidah for a festival like Passover. And in course, we add the insertions for Shabbat. It begins on page 306 and continues through page 314, the silent Amidah for this Friday night in this seventh day of Passover.
finish your Amidah, we turn to page 51. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael tasim leolam. Ki ata Let's all put our arms around each other and join together in Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom bimroma, Huya Oseh Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru, Amen. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru, Amen. V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael, V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom bimroma, V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru, Amen. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru, Amen. Amen. Amen.
During our prayers of peace, we add a prayer for peace for those who are ill. And those who are sick at this time, we ask God to heal them soon with the Misha Barg prayer found in the inside back cover of our Siddurim.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing for us and all of those we love. We shall refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
And you may be seated now as we continue in our prayer books, page 54, Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה, אל מעד יבדח חילותי, ויעל מזמלכותי, בחייך ובכל מחייך לבית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילה מכל בחדה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותו וברכתו לכל ישראל, תודה מבון בשמיה, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Just to be a little off script for a second, it is so cool to see so many of you here. It's been so long. It feels like high holidays. To me, I feel nervous, and I do this a lot. But it's really great. Even if I only see half your face and you're very spread out, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom. There you go. See, there's even more Shabbat Shaloms. Amazing. I saw something on the internet recently. Someone tweeted, other people when COVID is over, hooray, freedom, let's go out. Me, no. I thought it was funny. Look, I am also super ready for all of this to be over. All the anxiety of COVID, and I can do without that anxiety. Not being able to travel, for fun or to see my family who are a plane ride away. I would like to do that again. And not being able to see my congregants. I've missed you guys. I miss you guys. I hope the feeling's mutual. I miss being able to be with you. But I feel oddly mixed when I think about looking forward to going back. If that makes sense. The idea of going back to how things were before. I want this to be over. But I don't know if we're supposed to go back. As Jews, though, we love looking backwards. We love recalling memories, telling and retelling stories. We are still right now celebrating Passover for the past week. Passover, and what is Passover? If not retelling the same story that we've been doing, the story of the Exodus from Egypt. That was thousands of years ago. And we do it every year. We tell the same story, same looking back, every year. But as much as Judaism loves looking backwards, as much as Jews love looking backwards, we are actually warned against nostalgia in the Torah. You know that old joke, why did the Jews wander for 40 years in the desert? Because Moses didn't pull over and ask for directions. Ha, 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 ha. Because it's weird, right? 40 years, it took 40. I don't care how slow you walk. It's not going to take 40 years to walk from Egypt to Israel. They're not that far apart. So why did it take the Israelites so long? Turns out, the Torah actually literally gives the answer for that. When Pharaoh let the Israelites go, the Torah says, God did not take them on the shorter route. What? Why? Penyenechem ha'am. Lest the people have a change of heart and return to Egypt. So, the Torah says, God led them the roundabout way, which apparently took 40 years. Sforno, one of my favorite medieval rabbis, an Italian guy, says that there was a concern that the Israelites might start to miss Egypt. Despite all the troubles, the slavery, they would start reminiscing about the life they had before, and so they might be tempted to go back, to voluntarily live in the world that they left behind. The Torah is showing us the danger of nostalgia, that looking back is one thing, but wanting to go back is another, because we are moving forward. The Torah teaches that we are always moving forward. And that's what we have to focus on. We glean from the past. We learn the lessons of the past. We tell the same Passover story every year. Why? Because every year we can glean something new from it. But we never are supposed to stop and go, wow, I really wish I could go back. As Jews, we know we are always only going forward. We are moving forward. Our focus has to be on who we are becoming. I look forward to the day I am so excited when, like before, we once again live in a world free from the worry of COVID. And also, we have learned so much about ourselves in this time. We have innovated. In COVID times, our creativity is through the roof. And as we move forward, I want to take everything that I have learned. We need to take everything that we have learned during this incredibly trying time with us. I think about the resilience that we have learned, that we have, the empathy and the drive, the desire to move on and succeed and bring others with us and to thrive. We've learned that about ourselves. How our hearts have had to expand during this very difficult period in history. To care for our families and our communities and our society, we've had to learn to care for ourselves in a whole new way. That's important. We can't leave that behind. We can't go back. And I think about the fact that we brought an entire society online, and it was tough. It has been tough, it is tough. And there are lots of ways that this virtual reality has downsides that I will be happy to leave behind. Lots of virtual stuff is not so good. I'm glad to be rid of that. But now, because of our human drive for connection and innovation, people can join classes and attend religious services and go to museums and go to lectures. We can join community from wherever we are. Yes, the people on the couch with the tablet, that's great, but there are people who have never had access like this before. I think of the parents of small kids who have worked all day and go home and they got to do the bedtime routine. And if you have a kid that age, you know what I'm talking about. You got to do dinner, you got to do bath, you got to do book, you got to do all the stuff. And you don't have time. Pre-COVID, you would never have the time to do all the stuff you had to do to put your kid to bed and then rush over to a class to go learn. Who has time? No one has time for that. But now, you can listen in on a class from the comfort of your own home while you're taking care of your kid. That's an all new thing available because of this. There are folks who are working late, or they're at the office, or maybe they're traveling for work and they're out of town, but they can still join in or be a part of discussions, be a part of communities now in a way they couldn't before because no one was set up for it. They didn't have to be. And there are folks who are disabled. I was talking recently to someone who I love very much, and they're disabled, and they were saying something I had not even thought of, never occurred to me before, but they said that they and others in the disabled community are mourning the end, the anticipation of the end of this COVID time. And I thought it was such a weird thing to say because aren't we all just really excited and looking forward to it? But they said that the accommodations and the accessibility of institutions and communities that sprung up during this time out of necessity for able-bodied folks, suddenly stuck at home because of a pandemic, with only a computer to access the outside world, so the world went virtual and visual and subtitled and volume controlled, and there's a worry among many in the disabled community that now that will all be gone. It will be retracted when the non-disabled don't need it anymore, when we go back to life like it was before. Look, we're gonna come back. We are coming back. I see it in front of me. It is beautiful, and I literally had tears in my eyes as we were saying the prayers earlier. Thank God for this, the rebirth. It is so heartening and exciting. I just don't think we can go backward, dismissing all of the accommodations and the accessibility our society has innovated. I don't think I want to go back to that world because it means leaving some folks behind. And we can't go back to pre-COVID times because those times are behind us. The people who we were in those times are behind us. We're becoming different people. We're growing. We're developing. We're evolving. It's good. We're moving forward, and the Torah beseeches us to glance back, to recall our hard-earned lessons about the depths of our capability to care, about the expansiveness of our hearts, about accessibility of society and communities for all people. And in glancing back and learning from it, we can continue with our growth as we move forward. I feel the pull of nostalgia, I do, for how things used to be, for a world that has changed so much. And I mourn what I have lost, what we all have lost during COVID. But the Torah warns us to not let nostalgia stick us in a rut, dreaming of life as it was before we grew. To not let nostalgia derail us from becoming the best version of ourselves, the best version of our communities, of our society, that we are capable of being, and that perhaps we are truly meant to be. As Pesach and the pandemic, God willing, wind down and freedom awaits us, I am looking back. I think we all can look back and find the things we want to take, the ways we made ourselves better, our society and our communities better, and then turn together and march forward to a brighter and better tomorrow for all of us. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Pesach Sameach.
Thank you, Rabbi Fort. Your sermon reminded me of something very important that we think about this Shabbat when our ancestors crossed the Sea of Reeds. And the Torah tells us that God took us out with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. And one rabbinic commentator says that the reason why is he took a hand to take us out, and an outstretched arm from keeping us from going back to Egypt. That sometimes we want to go back to what we had, not realizing that things are different now. And so I love what you said, because it's so true that as this is ending and life changes again, what is the new normal? And can we take the best of what we learned during this pandemic and create a new normal for us, for the Jewish people, for our greater community? That's going to be the great challenge. And we thank you, Rabbi, for laying it out tonight so beautifully. Now, let us rise as we continue in our service, the Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, וגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אינו, אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
And now we invite all those observing a yurtside and all those in mourning to remain standing for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 58. And this week at Beth Yeshurun, we offer condolences to the families of Rabbi Meir Middleman, Jim Gross, Herman Bernard Wishnow, David Tanner, and U.S. Capitol Officer William Billy Evans. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirutei v'yamlik machutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'hagala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam omei amaya, yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudusha brichu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tishbechata v'nechemata, damiram bi'ama v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Tonight we have one very special anniversary to celebrate. They're here this evening and celebrating 51 years of marriage, Ruth and Richard Hirschfeld. Mazel tov. And Ruth and Richard, you consider yourselves very blessed during this most difficult year for the world, as your family's been spared COVID-19. And all of you have already been vaccinated, which allows you to get together under one roof. And you were allowed to be together, felt comfortable to celebrate Seder last week. Your grandson, Zev Ben Benyamin Stephanie, has fully recovered from open heart surgery, thank God. And you thank your children for the lovely surprise. I remember last year honoring your 50th wedding anniversary with a leaf on our Simcha tree. With much endurance, patience, koach, and your children's support, you're now facing the rebuilding of your home, which unfortunately suffered significant damage due to a water pipe burst during the most recent unpredictable Houston 100-year freeze back in February. But as you told us, this shall too pass, Gamze Ya'avor. And with that attitude, with your spirit with your family behind you and the great love you have for each other, I know you will overcome this challenge and continue to inspire many of us tonight and for many years to come as you celebrate 51 years of marriage. Mazel tov. Congratulations, many more to come. So I've got a few announcements to share with you, and if you're still tuned in online, I hope you'll stay on because in just a second I have a great video, just a 2-minute video I can't wait to show you. This has been a noteworthy year and especially true for our congregation. You may not know, but the Texas Historical Commission has designated Beth Yeshurun as a recorded Texas historic landmark, the highest honor the state can bestow on any structure. This designation was based on our significant history, our building's architectural merit, and its status as an exemplary model of preservation. The dedication of the historical marker will take place on Sunday, October 17th at 1:30 here at Beth Yeshurun. And please note October 17th date on your calendars, as the marker dedication will be a milestone event for the history of Congregation Beth Yeshurun. In addition, last week we were honored by Preservation Houston as a recipient of the Good Brick Award for outstanding contributions to the preservation, restoration, and enhancement of Houston's architectural and cultural heritage. During this event, the following virtual presentation was made regarding our award. Please enjoy.
Congregation Beth Yeshurun is receiving a Good Brick Award for rising to the challenges posed by Hurricane Harvey. Beth Yeshurun is the oldest active conservative congregation in Texas and the largest conservative congregation in the United States. The synagogue's modernist architecture is the work of Eugene Werlin and Leonard Gabert Sr. When it was completed in 1962, the 80,000 square foot synagogue was one of the largest religious buildings in the South. Original sculpture, mosaic murals, and stained glass interpret traditional Jewish symbols in keeping with the building's mid-century design. During Harvey, about 4 feet of water filled the lower level of the sanctuary. In the midst of the storm, congregation members entered the flooded building to rescue the Torahs. Remediation efforts began immediately after the water receded. Working with Kirksey Architecture, Mission Constructors, and McCrosty Historic Advisors, the congregation was able to use the state's historic preservation tax credit to restore the building. Historic materials were conserved and retained wherever possible. The water-damaged 8 pairs of original wooden doors were carefully stripped, refinished, and returned to the building's lobby. The project was completed in February 2019, and the congregation again held services under the stained glass in the impressively restored sanctuary. That same year, Texas Historical Commission designated the synagogue a recorded Texas historic landmark. Preservation Houston commends the members of Congregation Beth Yeshurun for their commitment to preserving their historic synagogue and congratulates them on receiving a 2021 Good Brick Award.
And both of these honors are noteworthy because in most instances, these designations are given to much older buildings. And so this Thursday, in a special lunch with the rabbi, we'll be having a program on Zoom. We'll speak with Preservation Houston's Executive Director and Program Director, David Bush and Jim Parsons. There's a lot more information about our synagogue that's not included in what you just saw, and I hope you'll join me as we have this great discussion this Thursday at noon. We'll talk about our architectural and historical attributes that led to both the Good Brick Award and the recorded Texas Historic Landmark designation. Please join us this Thursday at noon. Registration is on our website and there's no charge to attend. This is a program I know you won't want to miss. Service registration. As vaccination rates continue to increase, City of Houston guidelines and our medical advisors have permitted us to expand the number of in-person participants in our services to 135 members. Our Onik Shabbat is back, and you could join us after services in our Sukkah courtyard. In only one service, our Friday night Shabbat Renewal here in the Barg Sanctuary requires registration. And you can attend on a Friday night even if we have a bar mitzvah. But space is limited for this service, and so you still need to register just for Friday nights. And for all services, we'll continue requiring masks and social distancing. And we hope to see you soon, whether it's on a Friday night, a Shabbat morning, or this Sunday morning, as we commemorate the last day of Passover with our Yizkor service. We'll have 2 services this Saturday morning. There's no registration required. Just come, whether it's in our Greenfield Chapel community in the Freeman Levitt Sanctuary at 8:30 a.m. or here in the Barg Sanctuary at 9:30 a.m., again for this year's Passover Yizkor service. In the coming 2 weeks, we'll also commemorate Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, and Yom HaAtzmaut. And we'll be participating in community events for all these days, so look for more information on our website, our weekly emails, our social media, or in the message. The new Meals to Go menu for April is up, and look for the Meals to Go box on our homepage and check out this month's menus. And at the end of this month, on April 25th, we'll have our annual meeting where we will elect our new officers. We're excited to welcome David Stein as our new president and to thank Jared Bloom for all the tremendous work he has done during his tenure. We'd love for you to include a message or photo for Jared and his family in the tribute book we are preparing. Please go to our website to find out more about the meeting and to say thank you and yesher koach to the tremendous work Jared has done as our congregational president. And now, before we conclude our service, let's go back to our prayer book. We turn to page 63, and as we do between Passover and Shavuot, we count each night. We connect the holidays with the counting of the Omer. Page 63, please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom shisha yamim laomer.
Later tonight at sunset, we'll begin the 6th day of the Omer. For all of our children that are with us and are watching, we say to our sons, Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim ve'ke'Menashe. May God bless them like Ephraim and Menashe. And for all of our daughters, we say Yisimech Elohim ke'Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May God bless them like Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah. May God bless all of our children with peace. And let us say amen. Again, it's so great to see so many of you here in the Barg Sanctuary. After the Kiddush, please join your rabbis and cantor in the Sukkah courtyard.
Page 79, special Kiddush for festivals and Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am ורוממנו מכל לשון וקידשנו במצוותיו ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה שבת למנוחה ומועדים לשמחה חגים וזמנים לששון את יום השבת הזה ואת יום חג המצות הזה זמן חירותנו באהבה מקרא קודש זכר יציאת מצרים קיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת ומועדי קודשך באהבה וברצון בשמחה ובששון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת בישראל והזמנים שבת שלום שבת שלום שבת 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 שלום שבת שלום שבת שלום שבת 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 שלום